Hi, I'm Peter Furst for Camera House at Ross Hill Winery in Orange. If you're lucky enough to find yourself in a beautiful place like this, we've got 3 tips to help you capture the perfect photo. The first tip is light. Now, for all photography, light is essential, but I love it in vineyards in winter. Without the grapes and the greenery on the vine, you get to see the light filtering through the vines, creating really interesting shadows. It's also important to remember the time of day you're shooting. There's nothing like a sunset or a sunrise or golden hour where it brings out different colors and different hues. Always look at the way the light is interacting with the subjects around you and look for interesting patterns that you can't capture when there is fruit on the vine. Tip number 2, subject. It can be really easy when you're in a beautiful place like this to just think of taking the photo and trying to capture it. But what will really draw out your photo is to include a subject, to include something that draws the eye in. Now, fortunately, somewhere like here at Ross Hill Wines, there's plenty of things to stand in as a great subject, whether it be some old barrels like this, a rusty tractor, even some cherry vines and apple trees. Always look for that something interesting. And another thing that I love here is the texture you find in the surfaces. Where it's this old weathered wood, whether it's the dirt road coming in and the puddles of water across it, each of these things are things you can use to try and really spice up your photo and make it much more than the ordinary. Speaking of unusual subjects, how about this pile of pallets? I mean, you wouldn't usually think to photograph something like this, but the way the light is hitting it creates a real interesting and deep picture. It actually looks like a Jeffrey Smart photo if you ask me. Our third and final tip is composition. A beautiful thing about shooting in a vineyard like this is the lines that are created. You see these lines of trees or lines of vines. Brings to mind the rule of third that you should keep in mind. Always dividing your frame both vertically and horizontally into thirds and putting key points of interest at the intersection of those lines. Another important thing to bear in mind is depth of field. Now, maybe you actually want to have a small aperture so that you can get everything in focus, or you can open it right up, open it up to a 1.2 if you can, get that vine or the subject in front in focus and a nice bokeh in the background, or vice versa depending on what you're trying to achieve. It's important to fill your frame as well. Don't have dead space in your photo. Think about what you're dealing with and how you can move yourself and position the camera to get that frame full, highlight the subject, use the lines to be able to focus in on that subject, and you'll be able to draw your viewer right into what you want them to see.